Good morning. Mama Bear to Many here. We have 14 children altogether. 12 of those are still living at home, so there's 14 people eating on a regular basis at my house. And I am going to go over my December menu. So last month we had a menu and decided to just go ahead and change that over because I was trying to get some training done with my older girls who are 21, 19, and probably birthdays coming up, and 18. And so I wanted to do training. So I gave them a week long and I gave them a budget. And I asked if they could take that on. And they did. And I think that they were fairly successful in that. So this month, I'm going to basically focus on some of our simpler type meals. I'm also doing some lower cost meals for me. I talked before about lower cost meals and how everyone has things that are lower cost to them. Maybe your area has certain things. Maybe you grew a lot of one thing and not of the other. So these are low cost meals to me personally. And so we're going to be doing that. I also am going to be training my three of my children this month. I call them my middle kids. So they are 13. Well, they're more than my middle kids. So 13, 11, and 10. So I am training those three children specifically this month. And I am going to help them work on things that they'll be able to build on. And then next month, hopefully, I'll do some other training with some other people and incorporate what they've already learned into the menu. So this winter, I really want to focus on training the children in being able to prepare meals for their family. So that is what I am doing. So it looks a lot different than it has in the past, where I have broken down the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These are a lot more basic. I can do a basic menu like this in like 15 minutes. So I'll just show it to you real quick. Okay, so for breakfast, most of our breakfasts are going to be either oatmeal or eggs. Let's see. Oatmeal currently costs $6 plus the toppings, whatever toppings I'm putting on the oatmeal. And eggs cost roughly the same at $6, and then whatever sides I'm doing. So both of those meals would cost me roughly $10 per breakfast. Um, I have a lot of potatoes that I canned that I would be glad to use, like eggs and then fried potatoes. That's a good meal. I also have sausage. Our sausage is $4 a pound. I might take some sausage and just scramble that up with like an onion and throw some eggs in there. Some of my family members do not eat eggs, and so they would have whatever sides there was every morning in the morning time. I know that some of you also struggle with this, but people get up at different levels, and some of the younger kids might get up at like 6, and we might not eat until later. It really just depends, or they might be like sporadically. That's the one meal that everyone's not actually like sitting down to eat their meal. I usually am making breakfast at 7 or helping somebody around 7 o'clock to make breakfast. So, but there's people, we do all our morning chores before we actually come in and eat breakfast. So if anyone wants a piece of fruit before that, they can. They know what fruit is available. I'll have that fruit sitting out on the table, or I will tell them if it's something in the fridge, I'll tell them the night before, hey, we're having oranges today. You can have those before breakfast. A lot of times it's just bananas, apples, and let's see, what are those little cuties, like those types of things I actually got a bunch of bags of those for $1.50. So they might eat those for breakfast before I actually make and serve the breakfast. So, other things that we may or may not eat is yogurt. We might do yogurt every once in a while. We are working on drying our cows off because they will be calving the beginning of next year, and we like to give them several months of not being in milk. Usually, about halfway through their pregnancy, we dry them off. Commercial dairies don't let them dry off for so long, but we do, and we're not in a situation that we really need to have them. I would like to alternate them at some point, but at this point, we're not at that point. They both calved the same time last year. We didn't have the arrangements. And actually, one of our dairy cows is probably going to either get sold or go in the freezer this year for many different reasons. But well, not this year, next year. And but she's gonna calf in March or April. I forget. We have it written down. So um currently we will not be in milk. We're drying off. So I don't want to include yogurt in my meals because I don't like to buy store bought. I mean, we buy some store bought and we have it occasionally. But yeah, that's that. So um, I'm going to start with Mondays and then I'll explain my Sundays a little bit better. So Mondays is going to be like a meatless Monday. So it's going to be rice and beans for two. And then I have a meatless chili and cornbread for the other. So rice and beans with rice and beans. We'll have a salad. I'll do a video on how I do rice and beans or how I do our rice and beans. It's really easy, but it's just a little bit different than most people do. And it makes it a little bit different. I was speaking to my friend this morning and she was talking about how my recipe for Jag was similar to her recipe for rice and beans. But it's just my red beans is just a little, and rice is just a little bit different than most people. And it's just something that I've been doing for years. So that said, we have red bean and rice for 2 days, and then meatless chili and cornbread for one of the days. The 26th, I'm not planning because it's like the day after Christmas. I'm actually leaving the 2 days after Christmas for nothing at all because it's just going to be a bit crazy and we're doing some stuff and whatever. So Tuesday, we will have sweet potatoes with taco filling. So I'll make tacos like you were going to do tacos on a taco shell, but we're actually going to like cook the sweet potato and you just kind of open it up. You put the taco in there, the taco stuff in there, and you can add like salsa or avocado or whatever you want onto that. And then you just cut it and eat it like that. So that's what I'm going to do for the 6th and the 20th. And then on the 13th, I'm doing a taco soup with chips. I have kind of a planned thing that's going on that night. So it'll be great. I'll make that for lunch and then we'll have that for dinner. So all these meals, I'm making enough for lunch and then continuing that on to supper. So we'll just have leftovers for supper. That works out fine. We had to switch things around a little bit because my husband's schedule is so different now. And it's okay for us to have leftovers for supper now. If my husband was going to be home for supper, I would probably have my main meal at supper time and then warm up leftovers that next lunch. But same thing, I'm cooking a big meal and then having it for two meals. So Wednesday is going to be freezer meals. You guys saw that I did a bunch of freezer meals before. I'm going to be doing more freezer meals. So I did not actually write anything down for the freezer meal. I did not write specific freezer meals down like I normally do. I kind of want, I'll show you in a minute. I kind of want to give the kids the opportunity to kind of choose that. Then Thursday will be leftovers. Friday, we have a lot of fish. I canned a lot of fish last year. Years ago, 3 years ago now, I think it is. I saw a show and they were dip netting. And I was like, I wonder if there's anything that we can dip net in our state because that would be more efficient. I mean, if we go fishing and two people get a fish, that's, a meal. But if we could dip net something, that might be something that would be profitable to our family. So I looked it up and you can dip net alewives, which are also called river herring. There's quite a few different names for those. But so we found that we could do that and you can have 25 fish per day per person. So that is actually a lot of fish. People over 16 need a license. People under 16 do not need a license. So we go and we dip net a bunch of herring. And then we take those and we can those. And At first, I wasn't quite sure how to use this or anything like that. I just kind of canned it and was like, I don't know. So one day I didn't have any salmon to make salmon patties, and I didn't have tuna to like substitute it. And I was like, hey, I'm going to give it a try. And so I tried to do fish patties using what I canned, and it worked out great. I mean, you cannot tell the difference. It's fine. So Fridays, we're going to do fish patties. I have a bunch of that canned. It's a pretty well, I don't want to say free meal for us, but the fish patties are really inexpensive for us. And they're so high in like all your omegas. And that's so important for brain health, especially, you know, for everyone really, but for your brain health and for other sources of your body. We're always told that we need more omega 3s and omega 6s or whatever it is. It's all confusing to me. But anyway, it's good. That's why people take fish oil caplets and those types of things as well. We might as well just have it in the form that it is in fish. So, yes, we have fish patties, and then we'll have either sweet potatoes or I have some leftover squash that I need to use up. So I'll use the squash up first before I start buying sweet potatoes. And then I'll either have broccoli or green beans. I'm not quite sure what I have in the freezers. I haven't gone through, but I do know that I have some things in my freezers. And then if not, I know that I have canned green beans. So we will have either of those with that meal. So then Saturday is going to be soup Saturday. So I have butternut squash soup with gluten-free bread. I'm going to try to, I've made the recipe a couple times now, and we really enjoy this gluten-free bread recipe. So I will try to do a video on that. So the gluten-free bread, and then the 10th would be split pea soup. My kids love it. I know that maybe some of you are like, oh, who wants split pea soup? It's a favorite in our household. So I'm not like forcing my kids to eat split pea soup. It's really like truly a favorite. They will eat it to the last drop. So split pea soup, rolls, and I want to try a new roll recipe. We tried 2 roll recipes for Thanksgiving. Both of them were kind of duds. So I'd like to try something new until we get it right. On the 17th will be butternut squash soup again with the gluten-free bread. On the 24th is Christmas Eve. That's when we'll actually be doing our Christmas. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do for that day. I was speaking to my Aunt Judy, AJ, who had come up, and she was talking about a traditional Swedish Christmas Eve. So my heritage is Swedish. I have some other things mixed in there, like Swedish and French and English. But our family can actually like connect most with the Swedish ancestry. I wanted to try to do like a traditional type. They do their Christmas on Christmas Eve. I'll be right back. Someone's. Yeah, so they had somebody stop by real quick, so I just had to run real quick. Now I have baby nursing, and we are going over this. So they have they do their Christmas dinner and stuff all on Christmas Eve. And my grandmother, she had mentioned plenty of times about remembering about Christmas Eve with her family going to her grandmother's house. And I thought that it would be fun for a couple of reasons to switch our Christmas dinner over to Christmas Eve rather than Christmas. I'm going to hop over here again. Okay. Now I was trying to like block that. So that is what I'm trying to transition over to. Now that I have older children, I am realizing that well, I'm just trying to think for the future. As my children get older and have families of their own, I'm sure that they're going to want to spend Christmas Day with their direct family, or maybe with the in-laws family, or whatever it might be. So I wanted to try to make something special that would be in our home, that would be separate for all of them as well. So we're going to start doing our Christmas on Christmas Eve and save our Christmas Day for what we want to do. And I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like. I'm not quite sure if we're going to do what we've always done and done presents and that type of stuff. I'm really leaning towards not. I'm leaning towards I'm leaning towards having I'm leaning towards experiences. I really want to give my children experiences, and I don't know that buying a bunch of toys that they probably aren't going to play with. I've spoke a little bit about this in another video, but toys and such that they're going to play with for a little period of time and then move on. I'd rather give them more meaningful things. So I think we're going to be starting that tradition this year, and I will let you know how that goes. I really can't let you know specifically what our plans are because there's people that may watch this, and then I don't want them to tell younger people in my household what my plans are. So anyhow, as far as food goes, the 24th is pretty open. We're going to do a smorgasbord. We're going to try to do a Swedish type Christmas Eve dinner. Okay, so then I left Sundays. So I left Christmas open. Nothing is on there. Whatever I decide to do will be prepared ahead of time and whatever. So I left some days open there just to try to plan that separately. So the 18th, no, the 4th, we're going to do a pork roast with a bunch of fixins. So we'll do like pork roast and mashed potatoes and veggies and that type of stuff. There will be leftovers on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the rest of those leftovers into pulled pork. And so I'll make some barbecue sauce or use some of my canned barbecue sauce and add that to the pork, and I will have pulled pork meals. And those will be freezer meals, which can be used either later on that month or this month, or, well, this isn't December yet, but the month that I'm talking about, or for a later time. So then on the 11th, I have one turkey left, although I probably am going to buy more turkeys because they did get the brand of turkeys in that I wanted, and they were a fair price. I think they're like $1.20 a pound. And I know that I know a lot of people can get cheap turkeys, and that's not like the cheapest of the turkeys that I can get. But I'm thinking that I'm going to try to pick up a couple extras because turkey is really great, even for slicing and just eating like that for lunches. I'm trying not to do as much for my husband's lunchbox. I don't want to do like sandwiches every single day. So I've done a lot of like wraps. So I'll do like lettuce with like turkey or chicken salad or rolled up lunch meat or whatever like in his box. So he's like not actually having so much bread. So what? She's not quite sure about life. So what I'll do is I'll cook that turkey. We'll have the turkey that day, and then we will have. Can you bring her to Kaylee?
Yep.
Okay. And then I will keep that turkey, the breast part. I will cut that up and use that for my husband's lunches for that week. And then I will take and boil down the carcasses, and then I will take that meat and put that in the freezer for another meal at another time. And then on the 18th is going to be leftovers, and I'm going to do prep for Christmas. And like, so I'll make my lists out, what I need to do on what day, and blah, 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 because it's the following weekend. That following Saturday would be for then. I also need to prep some stuff for the days after. So I just need to prep that stuff all together on the 18th. So I'll probably have leftovers on the 18th. If we do not have leftovers on the 18th, then I could easily take out some jars and make, beef of stuff that I canned. I could make chicken noodle soup. I could make beef stew. I could make a number of different things. So that is that. As far as Sundays go, I'm not quite sure. I have those written down, but this time of year, it's really difficult to know what we're doing for our Sundays because we have a wood stove, so we like to try to keep our wood stove going. So going to church an hour away isn't something that we want to be doing like every single week. So we probably will be visiting some more local churches and then just coming home and cooking after or putting things in the roaster and then leaving for church and then coming back. So that's our plan for those. There are some closer churches near us that we'd be able to like stoke the stove and then come back and it would still be warm. So that should work. So I will give you one last view of my menu. Oh, I didn't even go over it. So here's the view of my menu. Can you see there is the orange, the purple, and the pink. So those days, every child in my household has a color. I might make a video about that someday because it's really helped me out. So everyone has a color. So my daughter, who is 13, has the color pink. The one who is 10 has the color purple. And my son, who is 12, has the color orange. So I just put their colors on here so they know and I know who's helping me that day. And I can just quickly see, oh, yep, it's this person. Oh, yep, it's this person. And they'll know what's going to happen. So my daughter, who is oldest, 13, she'll be doing the fish patty day. And that would be a good starter recipe for her. That's not, she does a lot of like freezer meals in the crock pot or rice and beans and that type of stuff. I always start with things I can just like throw in the Instapot with the kids or like just dump jars in for beginner meals for younger people. So that's what I'm doing with the 12-year-old and the 10-year-old. They're doing rice and beans, chili, and freezer meals. So that is about all. So that is our binder with our stuff in it. I need to come up with some snack ideas and then come up with Christmas stuff and then after Christmas stuff. And I think that's it. We're doing a lot of, I don't want to say traveling, but there's lots of different events. I know the library is having like a craft show and doing some things like that. So I also need to think up some things that would be quick and easy and keep those stocked. I should mention that everything in there are things that I have in my house right now that are part of my food storage, which is just my rotating pantry. People use the word food storage. I don't know that I would actually call it food storage because it's just like a rotating pantry that I work with on a daily basis. So that's what those meals are made out of. The only things that I would need to buy for those meals would be like lettuce for the salad and maybe like avocados, onions, like if I want to put anything in a salad, as well as, what was I thinking? I totally forget. Stuff for my husband's lunch. I might need to buy some lunch meat or something like that for my husband's lunch. And then I would need, if we're planning on doing something special, buy something like that. But basically what I do is only buy fresh things for ingredients to add to, and then I already have everything else in my food storage. I don't know that I want to share that at this point. A couple people have asked. Basically, I'll just let you know what I do keep. I keep about a year's worth of vegetables because we grow our own vegetables and then we can them and then we put them in the basement. So your year's worth and my year's worth are going to look totally different. My year's worth, every single time, say I ate green beans, I need 3 cans of green beans, where you may just need a half a can or 1 can. So it might look different than your household. Our meat, we try to raise most of our own meat, although I am buying chicken this year because I did not raise chickens. And I'm not quite sure if I can get the organic chicken for 5 something a pound. I don't know that I might not just continue doing that at this point, because this year I really wanted to spend more quality time with my children, and I want to make memories and go on adventures with my kids. So that is about it. And I hope you all have a lovely day, and we will talk to you soon.